Head T on the F. Good evening, Titan Nation. This is your man, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we are now back for another studded edition of Titans in Truth. I'm glad y'all stuck with me for all this time. I got everybody on Facebook Live as well. So everybody on Facebook Live, how you doing? Everybody, what's going on? We're going to try to have a really good time tonight. And what we're going to start off with is, first off, I'm going to go ahead and knock this out the way because one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give some of my last thoughts about what I like to have called in my blog the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because that is exactly what it was. And I know how this game left a lot of fans. So what I'm going to try to attempt to do, and I'm going to be much more professional than I was Sunday night in my recap that is on Facebook Live on the Titans of Truth page. I'm going to try everything in my system to talk a lot of you off the ledge, because I've been hearing it on radio. I've been hearing it from a lot of people. And Matt, you can shut up, man. You can shut up. But I'm going to try to talk some people off the ledge and understand that it's not over, y'all. Giving up is not an option. Now ain't the time to do so. So we're going to get to that later, along with a lot of other good stuff. And we are going to have a really, really good time with that. So let's get to this debacle that happened. And as y'all can see, I am tightened up as much as possible, and I'm always going to be. So for everybody, I got to show off for the people on Facebook Live, so got to do that for everybody. But let's get right down to business, and let's give me my last thoughts on this 57-14 loss, or should I say massacre, that happened in H-Town. It was bad all the way around. It was toe up from the flow up. And believe me when I tell you, I was just as upset and just as angry as a lot of you were. Believe me when I tell you that. There were times I had to laugh to keep from crying. I had to laugh to keep from being mad. I mean, that's just what I had to do. So, it was a lot of bad things that happened, mainly on defense, but there were a couple of good things, and I do mean a couple, like 3. Marcus, 2 of them was that Marcus scored a couple of touchdowns on the run, which was actually pretty cool, because I thought in the first part of the second quarter, I honestly thought the offense was starting to find something. They started to kind of get into a rhythm. And true enough, we don't need these slow starts and bad first quarters. But it looked like in the second quarter, they kind of figured some things out. And I think if Marcus was on the field for the second half, I think we would have scored more than 14. Now, granted, the defense couldn't stop anybody to save their life. Then it would have been very difficult to keep up with that because, again, the defense couldn't stop anybody. So it would have been very hard for us to get up to 30 or 40 points, and they're up at 50. I mean, it probably could have been about maybe 57-28 or 57-30 something, maybe be respectable. But, I mean, it was kind of too little too late on that, and I kind of understand why Coach Malarkey held Marcus out for the remainder of the game. Those were the good things. The bad things is just that we did not stay in a rhythm. Matt Castle came in and just looked atrocious. I hope maybe after a week of practice, if he has to start, maybe there's a little bit more confidence. Don't quote me on that, child. Please don't. That yet remains to be seen. But the really thing I want to get to about this game that just really had me up in arms was the defense. I'm like, did we even get on the plane to get to Houston. I don't think the whole team did. I think the offense at least tried to show up. But the defense went to sleep and did not even bother to wake up to the alarm to go get on the plane to go to Houston. It was horrible. I don't know what it was that went down. I see some people on Facebook. Courtney on Facebook, how you doing? Welcome in. I don't know what really just happened. It was poor play. Bad read on assignments. We didn't get much of a pass rush. And when we did, we gave Deshaun Watson all kinds of lanes to get out, to escape, which was the one thing that I mentioned that we could not do. Just like in the game with Russell Wilson, you could not allow lanes for him to get out. And he found ways out, extended plays, got some first downs on some runs, and was very dangerous. And I agree, if you listen to 102.5, Floyd Reese said it, that it's not Houston is that good or we are that bad. I honestly don't think we are as bad as the showing that we put out, although it was pretty freaking awful. I will admit that. Courtney, I'm going to get to your question in just a bit. I appreciate that question. We're definitely going to get with that. Miss Angela, how you doing? It was just a horrible day at the office. Every team goes through it at least once. I hate saying that team's name. The Patriots went through it. Houston went through it earlier this season, even though it wasn't as bad as what happened to us. But they kind of got embarrassed earlier too. And, we just got to shake it off. And that's something I'm going to mention later on in the show. There was no fire. There was no passion. There was no want to, as far as I'm concerned. Everybody played bad. From Casey Arapo Morgan, played bad. Williamson played bad. Woodyard was okay, but he's a part of the defense too, so I blame him as well. I don't know. Dick LeBeau was probably trying to call every blitz in the book, and it didn't work. I don't know why in the world they had Bryce McCain on DeAndre Hopkins so much. I have no idea. The bright side was Kevin Byard did get his first career interception. And prevented another score, which probably would have got him into the 60s. So that was kind of good, but all around it was just a bad game for the entire team. And, it was one of those games that, as a Titan fan, it was hard to watch. It was hard to stomach. I know a lot of people probably turned it off in the second half. I can respect that. I didn't watch much of the second half either. I went back and watched it on the Game Pass, and by the time the fourth quarter came around, I didn't want to watch any more of the bleeding because it was basically like we bled out, basically. So it was a rough game for us, but it's a lot we can learn from it. It's a lot that we could take from this game. Offensively, we know now you can't start slow. Because if you start slow against a decent and good football team, they'll jump on you, and then you won't be able to come back in the second half. You can't go down 21-0 in the first quarter and expect to come back and win. That can't happen. Defensively, you got to stop somebody. You got to stop somebody. And when it looked like we had a chance to get off the field on third down, we had inexcusable penalties too. So that coupled in with it as well. Adoree Jackson had probably his worst game as a Titan so far. Deshaun Watson picked on him early and often. And, I will have to give Adoree Jackson a pass a little bit. I know a lot of people won't. But you got to think he's a rookie. He's still learning. We expected that at some point in time he was going to have a bad game like this. And this was one of them. Now, I can't go and say he won't have any more bad games. I just hope these are few and far between. But Yeah, it was a bad game for Dory Jackson. It was a bad game for the whole team and all. And one thing I would want to say, for the love of God, can we please get rid of Bryce McCain? He is Bryce McPain. He is painful to watch. I said this even last year, and some people thought, well, Bryce McCain will be okay. He's okay. Bryce McCain sucks. He is just as bad as Paris Cox, worse than Jason McCourty, and I mean, some of the corners we've had in the past that absolutely stink. Ryan Mouton comes to mind. I cannot remember another. There was another cornerback that I just thought was, he's worse. He's just as bad as Valentino Blake. Just as bad. I really believe that. And, you know, I hear Morocco coming in saying, less is more when it comes to McCain. The less I see of him on the field, yeah, the more better the defense will be. So I agree with that. Thank you for bringing that up. Bryce McCain, well, I don't know. I think Bleedy Ray Wilson could go down as the worst corner in the history of the Tennessee Titans. And I think Paris Cox is right there with him. So, yeah, I don't know if I would venture to say Bryce McCain is worse than Bleedy Ray. That's a tough one. That might be a poll I put out, Morocco. That's a really good idea. I think I might put a poll out on that one. Which one of those three was the worst cornerback in Titan history? Bleedy Ray Wilson, Paris Cox, or Bryce McCain? And I may throw Valentino Blake in there too. We're going to see from those four what y'all think. I'm going to put that poll out there on the Titans of Truth fan page probably first thing in the morning. So I really want to get some thoughts on that. I may put it on there tonight if I can, so bear with me. But it was just an all-in-all bad game. I'm ready to turn the page on that. I just wanted to give my last thoughts on that. And now it's time to get on to Miami. So let's just put this game behind us, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. We will be better. We're going to be fine. And I know things probably didn't get better for a lot of people when we found out, you know, with Marcus going down with the hamstring injury. Good news was from the press conference, it was just a mild hamstring strain in his leg. So he's day-to-day right now. He practiced, but he was limited. So he did some individual drills, but Matt Castle took all the snaps in the team drills. So Mike Mularkey said in his press conference today that Marcus could still play even if he didn't practice all week. And it will basically be either Marcus starts or he doesn't play at all. There is no situation where Matt Castle will start and Marcus Mariota is the backup. So, you know, that is a really good sign. At least he practiced a little bit, and he may still go on Sunday. We'll just have to see how that goes during the week. But the Titans did go out and sign Brandon Weeden, formerly of the Houston Texans and Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. And I will venture to say Brandon Weeden was probably the fourth choice on the list of quarterbacks that they brought in. I know they was trying to look at T.J. Yates, Matt Barkley, Matt McGloin. I honestly thought it was going to be down to T.J. Yates or Matt Barkley coming to the team. But Coach Mularkey was basically saying that Brandon Weeden played a similar system in Houston and in Dallas and may be able to pick up the playbook a little bit faster if need be on that. And so I know a lot of people are questioning why in the world did we make this pick. In a way, I was too. But you got to think of it like this, and I believe I saw a comment on Facebook that is very true. Brandon Weeden is not going to be here very long. He's only going to be here maybe a couple of weeks at best. I mean, just until Marcus gets completely healthy. Marcus is going to be fine. He's going to be okay. I know a lot of you want to say Colin Kaepernick, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment because I'm going to put Colin Kaepernick completely to rest for all of you. I'm going to put this Colin Kaepernick crap to bed in just a moment. But the Brandon Weeden side, he's not going to be here very long. And if anything is an emergency situation, I really think Marcus is going to play Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. And I really, truly believe that because he gives us the best option to win. If he's still taking a few reps and is limited, that's a good sign. But we'll see what happens the rest of the week going on with that. So that's what I really got to say about that. I mean, yeah, I kind of didn't like the choice of Brandon Weeden, but you kind of want an older veteran quarterback, somebody that might make the game simpler and you manage the game if Marcus is not in there. So that's kind of what I think of that. I didn't like it, but I'll deal with it. You know, we're going to tighten up anyway. But I know a lot of you want Colin Kaepernick. And this is why I am very happy the Tennessee Titans did not sign Colin Kaepernick. Main reason number one, I didn't want him on the Tennessee Titans in the first place for a bunch of reasons. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me and give me slack on Facebook or on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. That's okay. I can take that. The fact that Colin Kaepernick is not on this team is a great thing, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great thing that Colin Kaepernick is not on this team, and here's why. Number one, Colin Kaepernick is not that good of a quarterback, y'all. I know what y'all are thinking. You're thinking, oh my God, he's way better than Matt Castle and Brandon Weeden. The dude in San Francisco couldn't even beat out Blaine Gabbert for the job. He got beat out twice by Blaine Gabbert by two separate coaching staffs. Jim Tomsula for the 1 year went with Gabbert, and then Chip Kelly went with Gabbert. So what does that tell you? Kaepernick ain't that good. He has a career completion percentage of 59.2%. That ain't exactly screaming Pro Bowl quarterback. And Mike Mularkey even said it, that the Titans weren't even considering Kaepernick because he does not fit. He does not fit the system. He is a run-first quarterback. Marcus is not a run-first quarterback. Marcus will run if he has to. If he is evading the rush or if it is a designed play, he will run. Kaepernick will run at the blink of an eye. He will run first chance he get, not even trying to throw the ball. And, we need a quarterback that can actually throw the ball. He's not exactly that accurate. I know he's been to a Super Bowl under Jim Harbaugh. That was 1 year, y'all. 1 year. Other than that, what has he done? Not much. I know he has 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last year in 12 games that he's played. But he got benched. He got benched, y'all. So that's why that's the number one reason I'm glad Kaepernick is not on the team. And I feel it had absolutely nothing to do with the anthem, the politics, with him kneeling. It has nothing to do with that. Because we've seen it before. Ray Lewis, had that horrible thing going on in Atlanta. If you can play and you can really help a team, you will be on a team right now. And, Kaepernick does deserve a shot to be on a football team, just not this one, okay? Just not this team. He is not what this team needs, which will go to number 2. And my guy Larry Garman, blue fire to you, my brother. I figured you were going to disagree with me, and I know a lot of people will. And it's okay. We can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree on this. Number 2 reason why Colin Kaepernick, I'm glad he didn't sign here, he didn't come here, is because, is he really going to be that great of a fit in the locker room? We have a good locker room. Colin Kaepernick could jeopardize that. He could jeopardize that and it could divide the locker room more than keep it together. I don't think he's a great leader. One thing that you got to have in a quarterback is a guy that can lead. Marcus may not do a whole bunch of talking, but the guy can lead. I just don't think Colin Kaepernick is a good leader. And you see with the facial expressions, and sometimes he might be out for himself and not out for the team. That's number 2. Number 3, the moolah. You think Colin Kaepernick is going to come here on a 1-year deal for like $1 million or $2 or $3 million? Colin Kaepernick, the reason why he let go in San Francisco was because he wanted starter money. He wanted to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And no team is going to give him that kind of money. Damn sure the Titans are not going to do it. So that's my third reason. He's going to want to be paid to be a starter. He's going to want starter type money. And we're not going to give him that. We got too many other guys who deserve that kind of money. A la Taylor Lewan, a la Marcus Mariota if he stays healthy. So that's another reason. Number 4, Colin Kaepernick is a better long-term option. Now, if Marcus Mariota were to go down and it was like season ending, or he was going to be out for like 8, 9, 10 weeks, then maybe I could see where Colin Kaepernick could be an option. And it's not a great option, but he could at least be a starting caliber quarterback if Marcus went down for a very long period of time. I don't want Matt Castle having to lead the way for the rest of the season, or Brandon Whedon. That is where I would look at Kaepernick or an RG3 if it was long term, at least for the year. But it's short term. Colin Kaepernick wouldn't even be on this team in a couple of weeks if we did that. And that would bring me to my number 5 point, and probably the big, not the most important, but probably in a lot of people's eyes, the biggest reason. You would have a media circus here. If there was a report that Colin Kaepernick was coming to the Tennessee Titans, every media outlet and their mama would be in Nashville. Every one of them. ESPN would do First Take from Nashville. Undisputed would do it from Nashville. NFL Network would do Total Access from Nashville. You would have reporters from all over the country coming here. We don't need that kind of media circus. And not to mention just them. CNN, Fox News, all these political channels would be coming here too, talking about, well, Colin Kaepernick and his politics, he got signed by the Titans. We don't need that type of publicity, y'all. We don't. We dealt with a lot of craziness from us staying in the locker room with the anthem, which I agree with them doing. And, with all of this going into Houston, which may have played a part in what happened in Houston. I'm not going to say it completely did it. I'm going to give it about 10% of the reason why we lost the game was because of some of those distractions, death threats, all of that stuff. And, the fan base is already tripping off of the anthem. And I'm going to say this about what Delaney said. Delaney was talking about you don't have to come to the game if you don't want to be with us. Bye. Honestly, I agree with that. I agree with it. Why? Because any Titan fan that wants to boo the Titans that they come out of the tunnel just because of their stance doesn't deserve to be a Titan fan anyway, in my honest opinion. I know a lot of people will, again, disagree with that, but that's just my feel. If you're a real Titan fan, you're going to stick with the team through and through. Win, lose, or draw, through the good, bad, and ugly. And y'all know we done went through some ugly. But you're going to stick with us regardless of what they think politically. It's about football. Football, That's why football is around, to help us get away from the craziness of the world. All the bad stuff happening in the world and everything that's happening on CNN and politics. That's what football and sports are for, to take us away from that so we can have some fun for a few hours. That's why. And, that's just the real. That's just the real. Those are my 5 reasons why I'm glad Colin Kaepernick is not a Tennessee Titan. And I would have rather went with RG3 if I had my pick. So that's that. That is that on that. And that is my thought as far as I'm concerned on Colin Kaepernick and everything with that. But now we're going to get now to the Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week. And I really had a hard time with this because I honestly, and I know a lot of you do too, probably didn't think anybody would deserve to be nominated for the Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week. And I can understand why. I mean, it was a horrible game. And, I know that it was rough. I don't think anybody deserves it, but there are a few instances that there may be a few guys that deserve it. Tyler came in saying, Two-Tone Blue Star is the off button on the remote. Which that's not a bad nomination right there. Not a bad nomination right there. I know I got somebody else that said nomination Kevin Byard for getting his first interception, for getting his first pick. And that's not a bad selection. That's not a bad selection. As far as Kevin Byard, but it's hard for me. It's hard for me to give out that award. Morocco said hands down Kevin Byard for his first interception. That's who I wanted. That's what he was saying. And I'm really going to do this by default because I really don't want to give it to anybody. But the Two-Tone Blue Star of the Week, in my opinion, Marcus Mariota. Why? Because he gave us our only 2 touchdowns of the game on his legs. Both plays were very nice. The first touchdown, excellent design read option. Was a great play, good burst of speed on that. So he was responsible for that, and he kind of got us back within a respectable part of the ball game. I mean, we were down 24-14, and we could have possibly made it even closer than that. But yeah, I give it to Marcus Mariota, a very small honorable mention to Kevin Byard. Now, probably to everybody's favorite part now is going to be the dunce of the day. And I know this is the first time I can honestly say there are some overwhelming, and I do mean overwhelming, nominations for that. I mean, a lot of people deserve the nomination for dunce of the day. Tyler came in and said, dunce of the week, the entire team and organization show no fire, no heart, no pride. They get paid too much, and people spend too much to see them all just lay down and quit. Lay down and accept a butt whooping like that. If that were one of my teams I coached, I would have told them, you all need to take a hard look at yourselves because you embarrassed yourselves and the fans, which Tyler, on that post on there, I'm giving you a love for that one. That is absolutely right. I couldn't agree more on that. I believe Morocco said Dick LeBeau was one because of what happened. And I mean, yeah, Dick LeBeau probably deserves a lot of criticism. For what happened. I mean, Terry Robisky didn't really call a great game, especially in the second half. Um, and I know a lot of people are calling for Robisky's head, but I've heard a lot of people calling for Dick LeBeau's head now too. And maybe that's just not. It's a system problem too. And that was a question that was brought up for Pick My Brain, which we're gonna get to that. Which we are gonna definitely get to that. So I'm gonna say my two-tone blue. I'm sorry, not two-tone blue. The dunce of the day probably has to go to the entire team as a whole because everybody stunk it up. With the exception of Marcus, even though he threw 2 picks. But everybody stunk it up. The only exception was the offensive line for Marcus. He didn't get sacked. That's a good thing. But everybody played like crap. The running game couldn't get going. The defense was an atrocity. And, the coaching was bad. Mike Mularkey got thoroughly outcoached. Dick LeBeau got outcoached by a rookie quarterback. And Terry Robisky let Romeo Crennel just crap all over him. So I think everybody deserves to be the dunce of the day, the entire organization. So with the exception of Amy Adams-Strunk, congrats on the $1 million she gave out earlier this year. Other than that, yes, everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves that. So, and that includes good old JR. John Robinson can't be excluded from this either. I got to put him as a dunce as well. And another guy that I want to put as the dunce of the day, honorable mention, is Skip Bayless from Undisputed. I was listening to Jared and the GM earlier today, and there was a clip that he showed. There was a clip that he played where him and Shannon Sharpe were talking about Colin Kaepernick is a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. I laughed so hard when Skip Bayless said that I just thought to myself, Skip Bayless has lost all credibility on knowing football. He lost all his street cred on that. Colin Kaepernick is not a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. Not by a long shot. I would pick Marcus Mariota over Colin Kaepernick 100 times out of 100. And it's not even a close call. I would. So, a little bit of a dunce to you, Skip Bayless, and Shannon Sharpe for even agreeing with all of that. So, that's what I think on that. And I think I speak for everybody with that. And so, what we're going to do right now, we're going to give a quick word from our sponsor, and we're going to take a brief pause for just a quick second. And we're going to come right back to Titans and Truth. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Miss Allison Nicole Conley at Rose Jewels Boutique. So if you want to get some good jewelry, check her out, y'all. RoseJewelBoutique.com. Ladies, if you're out there, if you want some good jewelry, something made in your style, something you want for just you, she will work with you. She'll fit it to what you want. Guys, if you want some good jewelry yourself, some man bling, she can do that as well. She's actually in the process of making a necklace for me. I'm trying to get a beaded necklace showing the Titans as well. So that's something. And you can check her out at rosejewelboutique.com. You can check her out on Instagram under Rose Jewels Boutique. And, definitely let her know that Titans and Truth sent you over. She might show you a little bit of love there. And also to my cousin, LaCrystal Crafts Magic, who made my Titans and Truth shirt that I wore to the game against Seattle. And I will be wearing that shirt to the game against Indianapolis in a couple of weeks. So definitely take a look for me on that. And, definitely might talk to her about getting some more shirts. If any of y'all want Titan the Truth shirts, I might see if she'll work with me on that too. What's up, Jeff? But we're going to take a brief pause right here on Titans the Truth for just a quick second. Let me catch my breath. And then we're going to come back with Pick My Brain. And we're going to preview the Dolphins before we get out of here. Again. All right, y'all, we're back here on Titans and Truth. Again, I give special love to my homegirl, Miss Allison Conley, Rose Jewel Boutique, and my cousin LaCrystal and the Crafts Magic Creations. So definitely check them out on Instagram and on Facebook as well. But we're getting ready to go into my favorite part of the show, your favorite too. It is time for Pick My Brain. Pick My Brain. And y'all know what it is. Y'all know y'all get to ask me some questions, try to pick my brain and see what I'm thinking on some stuff. And I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can, as quickly as I can on that. So we're going to get started here on, on the Titans of Truth fan page. I knew Tyler was going to bring it as he always does. He brought it again. First off, I'm going to get this one out the way. He said Michigan versus Michigan State. It's going to be wild. Wolverines all the way. Go blue. I'm going to knock that out right now. But his first question, he said, who played the absolute worst on offense and defense? On offense, I would say with the turnovers, I got to say Marcus threw those 2 interceptions that were ill-advised. And then Matt Castle wasn't much better. So I would say Matt Castle probably played worse than Marcus on offense. Defensively, there are so many options. There are so many options of who played the worst. Honestly, I would say Bryce McCain and maybe I would say Bryce McCain and Adoree Jackson played the worst on defense, in my honest opinion. So that's what I think of that. Number 2, Marcus seems to get hurt a lot. Is he injury prone? I'm going to say no to that, but it's starting to get close to the point where that could change to a yes, because the biggest ability for a quarterback is to be able to play 16 games. And if Marcus is supposed to get the big money that we may be shelling out for him, he's got to be able to play 16 games. And right now, he hasn't done that. Now, he's gotten better because his first year he only played 12. Last year he played 15, and he almost made it to 16. And then this year, he's already played 4, and I think he's going to play 5, so I think he's got a shot. We're going to see how that goes. But I won't venture to say injury prone yet. But if he misses a lot of time this year, I may have to change my answer to yes. Question 3, Brandon Weeden versus Colin Kaepernick thoughts. I also heard that the coach say Weeden was a better fit in the system, but they didn't even bring Cap for a workout. And this also coincides with Courtney's question about Brandon Weeden. Brandon Weeden, I'm going to go with what Malarkey said, because he says that Brandon Weeden is a better schematic fit for what we do, because he did something similar in Houston and Dallas. And so, I'm going to venture to say that's a good thing. If he ran a similar system, then that might help him catch on to the playbook a little bit faster. And in that way, he ain't got to do a whole bunch to catch up. Colin Kaepernick played a whole different system. I think out of San Francisco, they played more West Coast, which is entirely different from what we've done. So he would have had to pick up a whole new system, a whole new playbook. And Mike Malarkey said it. He's just not a fit. Now, agree, again, I didn't like the Brandon Weeden signing. I'm just not a fan of it. But I'm going to go with it because I don't think he's going to be here very long. He's probably going to be cut probably in about 3 weeks tops. So that's just what I think about that. Next question from Tyler. He said, if we were to make the playoffs, do you honestly see us not being one and done. We don't strike fear in other teams. It all depends on how we're playing going into the playoffs. You got to remember, we were 1-3 last year, and it was around this time we started to get hot. We had a loss against Houston that hurt, but we kind of started getting warm, and we ended up going 9-4. We started off 1-3, and we ended up going 9-4 the rest of the way, or 8-4 the rest of the way, excuse me. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they're rolling going into the playoffs. And I think, depending on the matchup, we can win one. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but now is not the time to lose faith. And again, before I get into the preview of the Dolphins, I'm going to try to talk some of y'all off the ledge. Number 5, John Robinson. Where's he at and what is he thinking?